That's natural and happy.
They have, but they can't stay.
No, you can't. But I mean, there's. No, he's.
She told me to go to contact my homeowners association because they have restrictions, and then they sent me the restrictions back.
And they're frozen cheeseburgers. Nothing special now.
Put it here, just like here, you have to load up that.
It's gotta be the way they cook it.
Chris,
It's like wave the magic wand. and we
It's
do
only
it.
up, going up like 2 inches. Remember, that field went like that.
yeah, but I remember the brick wall, the other field was up on the top.
Yeah, but a lot of that's come down. 2 piles, half, 1 pile goes down. He's still got, he's just moving it over there to get away from the repair house.
The other fields stayed the same level.
The
upper fields.
upper field's over like 2 to 3 inches high. No, Revere's a parking lot. That's a parking lot. The Revere where Karen's house is? Karen's house, that'll stay pretty flat. Remember, look at how high that is, and look where the field is. They're gonna
I
compete.
saw.
They're gonna be same height.
No, we're not.
It was Joe Lecker.
Joe Lecker.
Yeah, he said it made about 32,000. I mean, 32.
He had a lot of people in that.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. I went to breakfast with him on Tuesday. Chicken fingers.
He started talking.
He's a good talker. He's a good talker.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We lift up our sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marines, and guardsmen, the men and women of our police departments and fire volunteers into your loving care. Protect our nation from all that is evil. Guide our way through these difficult times. In God's name we pray. Amen.
First item is roll call. Mr. President?
Here.
Mr. Braun?
Here.
Chair is present. Ms. Borelli? Here. Mr. Gorman?
Here.
Mr. Cannon?
Present.
Mr. Swan?
Here.
Mr. Fagioli?
Here.
Next item is citizens' participation. If you have a comment regarding any agenda items, you may approach the podium and you have 3 minutes.
The school on the agenda.
What about afterwards? We got something to talk about with the school. What time would you want me to talk?
At the end.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for the September 17th council meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Right, Mr. Fagioli made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman made a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the reports of the borough officers. First up is the financial advisor.
Thank you, Madam President. You have in front of you the bill list as well as the budget to actual for the period. Our revenues through October 15th are very good. I would say we've collected about 90% of our revenue at this point. And our expenditures, our line items are pretty much along the line of the budget. I think we'll be well within our budget this year. I believe that we will, my projection is that we will probably do better than we budgeted in terms of fund balance remaining. And Mr. McCosy and I have worked together on the next budget. I don't know if it's, he will mention it in his report as to where we are with status and what will be projected to council, presenting to council in November. Other than that, I thank you for your attention and things look pretty good.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to accept the financial advisor's report and pay the bills.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Cannon made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Resnick seconded. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Resnick?
Yes.
Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Ms. Borelli? Yes. Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Swan?
Yes.
Mr. Fagioli?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next is the police chief's report.
Including the written report that was submitted to council, Mr. President. Two things I'd like to update council on. The school bus red light safe stop operation we were part of with the Upper Road School District from the beginning, which was about August 28th. And now there's been over 500 violations reviewed and forwarded to the school district for further processing. The last week and a half, we also were engaged in a ticket operation where overtime was reimbursed by PennDOT to go out and aggressively enforce seatbelt violations. We came to the conclusion of that this week with about 40 violations, not only seatbelt violations, but numerous other motor vehicle violations. Other than that, I have nothing else to conclude my report.
Thank you. Any questions for the chief?
I have one.
Okay.
Do you remember what our reimbursement was on the school bus?
$25.
25. Okay.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept the police chief's report.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ms. Borelli made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Braun seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next is the fire chief.
I have nothing to add.
Any questions for?
I have a check for you.
I'll make a motion.
Any questions for the fire chief?
One comment.
Okay.
I'm sure the residents of Springfield Township are especially grateful for the assist that your department gave to them during the St. Francis fire. I understand it was just common, but water problems during a fire. I know you guys worked real hard, and from council to you, we appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to accept the fire chief's report.
So moved.
All right, Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fagioli seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next is the engineer's report.
Thank you, Madam President. The passive park improvements, as council is aware, the contractor unearthed a 1,000-gallon oil tank. We have submitted the request to OHCD Determine if we can include that in the grant funds. Unfortunately, we have maxed out our allotment with the previous request, so we're working through that process of a change order, considering this is an unforeseen condition. The estimated cost of the removal of that tank is $17,000. So they said no, but we didn't accept the answer no, that they will not pay for it. We may be forced to move on and pay for it through general funds, but until we've exhausted those avenues, we'll pursue to see if they will pay for that. No changes on 2 Baltimore Avenue since last month. The pickleball court and Diamond Street improvements, I had a meeting with Mr. McCosy regarding the proposed improvements and potential applications for grant funds or sources. We're working through finalizing the scope of those improvements. The Glenwood Avenue stormwater, our surveyors have been back out on site to pick up different inverts and great elevations on Springfield Road. There's a lot of utilities on Springfield Road, stormwater and everything else you can imagine. And the pipe that's going to go on Springfield Road is very, very tight. So that's been a little complicated to work through that process. However, we are and we will get through that. The sewer cleaning, ADU has started this year's work and will continue until completed. I expect that project to be completed within the next 3 weeks. This is the last year of the 4-year contract. So next year, I will ask permission to advertise for another 4 years for sewer cleaning and maintenance. We don't have to do that until January, February timeframe. The MS4 reports, which are due every year, have been submitted to DEP on September 30th. And that's all I have unless you have questions.
Any questions for Mr. Kelly?
JP, just so the residents understand, in removing a tank of that size, it may have included had held some hazardous waste. That often includes remediation of the soil around it. So just so the residents understand, it's just not a matter of digging up a tank, pulling it out of the ground and hauling it away. There's other factors involved.
That's correct. The liquid, whatever it may be inside, needs to be sampled and tested. And then the surrounding soil around the tank needs to be sampled and tested. So 17,000 doesn't seem like a lot, but I guess if you look at the work and it looks like just a hole that they dug and took a tank out, it may appear to be a lot of money, but there's a lot of testing and regulation that need to be complied with to do that properly.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Kelly? I'll entertain a motion to accept the engineer's report.
So moved.
Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Resnick seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next up is the solicitor's report. Mr. McBride?
Thank you, Madam President. I don't have any action items for council's attention this evening. I did want to just discuss briefly, and again, I go in front of Mr. Gould at the risk of stepping on his toes on his report, that we do have 2 matters before the Clifton Heights Zoning Hearing Board scheduled for this month. Next Tuesday, a week from tonight, October 22nd, beginning at 7 o'clock here in this building. The first is the application at 301 West Baltimore Pike. This is at the corner of Baltimore and Oak. It is the strip center there, and it's the craft beer store, as the sign says, is requesting additional signage. We've taken the position opposed to that. When the craft beer store went in to that location, we did have a full zoning hearing on all of the signage for that property. And the zoning hearing board did grant relief to the craft beer store to allow them to have some signage a little bit larger than permitted, with the reduction of some of the other signage that went on there. So really now they're just kind of coming back and saying, I want to go back to where I was, or, I want to go back to what I wanted before, but without the benefit of any further reductions. And also consistent with that, again, Mr. Gould has reported that, we've really taken a look to make sure that the signage is reined in with all the different types and forms of signs, the the blowing man, the racing lights and all that kind of stuff. We've tried to, sort of rein that in so it's not a nuisance to the residents. The second thing is 400 North Springfield Road, which is at the corner of Springfield and Oak. The former was the former AFL-CIO offices for some time. Proposes to put in a smoke shop and exotic snacks and drinks retail sales. There's insufficient parking there, considering the change in use, and they've asked for relief from that. Once again, because of the type of use and what they're looking for, and especially considering that they're building a school across the street, we've taken a position in opposition to that request. That's something that certainly could cause a large issue with parking in that area. And as council knows, we fought very preciously to maintain that parking along that for those businesses there on Springfield Road, and then again on Oak Avenue for the residents to preserve the parking spots in places where they don't have off-street parking. So those are two applications that we are opposing. That's all I have to report at this time.
Any questions
I
for
have
Mr.
one.
McLean?
I have one thing. Is there a smoke shop across the street?
Yes.
That's what I thought there was too.
It's at 4:15, I believe it is.
Okay.
John, I just may not have been clear to everybody. You're representing the borough of both instances? The borough may become a party to the proceeding, which we have done in the past when we've been in opposition. That the zoning hearing board has a separate attorney to advise them.
My direct question is, you're going to represent the
Yes.
borough on the ordinances? Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. McBlain? Right, I'll entertain a motion to accept the solicitor's report.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Fagioli made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Borman seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is community development and code enforcement.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm pleased to announce that the application we submitted for 32 Mill Street to Delaware County for demolition funds has been approved in the amount of $85,000. So I'll be working with the borough manager and the engineer and solicitor to keep that process going, to work for the next steps on that long blighted property.
Any other questions for Mr. Gould? I'll entertain a motion to accept the community development and code enforcement.
Move.
I'm sorry? Mr. Cannon, did you? Okay. Mr. Cannon made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Resnick seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next is the manager's report.
Thank you. Although we told Mr. Humphries that the school is not on the agenda, it's kind of like on my daily agenda. So I thought that we would give an update tonight. I was able to get a overview of the site to be able to put up to have an explanation. We tried to have the project manager here, but he had a family commitment. He said he would come in the next meeting. But the site that's up on the board right now, if you see the red area to the left of the screen, that is the most active area being taken care of now. That area has to come down equal to Springfield Road. I'm not going to get an elevations area, but it's pretty deep dig. Once that occurs, and the dirt from that site there, if you were there 2 weeks ago or a week ago, there was 27 dump trucks rolling in and out there every day. That was really kicking up a lot of dust. So they went to off-site. That dirt is going to Cobb's Creek, and then they come back and forth. The Yuki's that are going back and forth on the site are taking that dirt, and that is now going to be transferred over to the center field of where the football field is. And a lot of that dirt will be our base of our fields in the future. The off-site dirt will continue to roll out of there. There's a new cutting road through there that takes you right to Springfield Road to try to stop going across the stone road that kicks up the dust. The water trucks are active. They have waited. Thursday night, a 2-inch water line will be installed on Springfield Road into the site. Right now, there's only a 3/4 inch water line, so they're off-siting the water to come in there. So there is a time delay. And that will also allow for more water on the site and spray operations. We're told that section on the left-hand side was a 15-day cut. We had shut them down twice on some plans on how JP and I worked on maybe instead of coming right to left from left side of Springfield Road to the right side against the Revere Homes, and then keep coming back and forth like that. If you notice in the last week, they did take our suggestion. They started on Springfield Road and working towards it, which put most of the dirt and dust away from the houses. You're going to get dust and dirt. It's an active, very active construction site. It has not rained. I can't think of last time it really rained. So once they get cut into that Springfield Road area, the next on that site there, and we'll put this up on the site, is the lower end where that green on the center line, they're going to start pouring foundations for this school. So this is moving a lot faster than they thought that it would because of the weather. And they'll get that foundation in, and most of that work will be centered on the bottom field with dirt extraction still coming out of the center field. Once all that excavation gets out of the way, then you're dealing with putting in these sidewalls, which they're putting in off of Sycamore Road, which is a backhoe digging a hole like you could see on a regular construction site. Foundation, those kind of things, not heavy bulldozers are moving once they get all that out. A lot of the rolling that you're seeing that's going on is more for dirt control than anything else. They don't need to compact, but they see that the dust is kicking up like a Texas field. So they're doing a lot of rolling and compaction just to keep the dirt down and keep the wind out. The other day was an exceptional, at 25-mile-an-hour wind. I was on site. So it's, they
Market Creek looked like
right.
the Sahara
I hear
Desert,
it.
excuse me, but
So-
that's what my gripe was about.
understood. I was there, and I don't say they're right. I don't say they're wrong. I think we have a pretty decent contractor there. I think he's very responsive. I do think he's up against some bad conditions on how much dirt are going in and out of that. And, I can just use this. It's either we're going to slow it and be here for 10 months, or he's going to hit it and get out of here and get those heavy trucks away from here. And then we're dealing with just regular construction. I just figure we give you an update. It is what it is. There's no excuses. They're trying the best they can. The borough's on top of them. I don't believe, and solicitors here and JP, we've talked about it. I've shut them down 3 times so far, but there's not a lot of teeth in. The reason we shut them down was other different reasons, but for dust and dirt control over a construction site, there's not too much we can do to say shut down. I mean, today it's windy, tomorrow it could be rain, then we're going to deal with mud. It's just an active, and they have a permit to proceed. So they're being very responsible. We talk to them, but there's only so much enforcement we can do. John and I, we're on that site all the time. So just asking people, just another grin and bear that. JP, what do you think, another 10 days in that left side? Maybe?
Probably 10 to 14 days. And as you said, we haven't had no rain. In fact, on the weather report today, there was no rain whatsoever in the month of October. And if we don't get rain by next week, it's going to break a record from the 1800s. So it's a very unusual condition that we have no rain to keep this down. But as you said, you have stopped them down, and they've been very responsive to any demands that you've given them. They bring water trucks in to try to do their best to maintain the dust control best that they can.
I think barring that heavy wind on what's name, I think the cut that we suggested to come off of the Springfield roadside really reduced it because it's down in the pocket where they were behind, the dirt was built up behind them. That's a pretty steep cut there into that hill. And that's where the parking lot is. For people who aren't familiar with the site, the parking lot for the employees will be where that red is on the left. The center is the actual school, and behind it is the actual ball fields. That's the way it lays out. There's a driveway that comes all the way through. They've been very responsive. We jumped on them last week about some dump trucks coming through the areas. The chief and John Gorman, we got calls, and a couple other council people. So they have been responsive, keeping them out on Springfield Road. We just continue working it through.
What type of realistic improvement do you expect with the 2-inch water line being?
A lot more. They could fill the truck like very quickly.
On site.
Almost like on site. Yeah, right now they have to go off site to fill it quick. They can get it right there and just keep filling up. We could also do a couple of spray operations if we get into some issues with that.
So should it be a noticeable difference for residents?
I don't ever comment on something I don't control,
Okay.
but I'll let you know. I would expect it to be, just because of the time it takes. I've been watching the trucks coming in and out. For the time it takes, there's only a 3/4 inch water line there. And the water company put them on their schedule. They have accelerated for us. I just kind of pleaded, said the residents are very, And they've accelerated from next week tie into Thursday night. The chief's gonna have a car out there, so they're in the middle of the road. We get this thing cut in there and get it done.
Because this is only the beginning.
It's, I hope, I hear it. Next up on the agenda, sorry, I lost it. Park Mobile update. So in front of you, the chief and I have worked on, and we're going to need a fast a motion tonight. In front of you is all the places that the Park Mobile has been installed. So we have one sign at every location. And what they're doing now is that is tied to the geo. So if you're standing there, it tells you exactly where you are in Clifton Heights. And they are active. They've been tested. People are actually using it now. What it's tied to is our old ordinance. We have not changing the ordinances. We're just listing the times and the dollar amounts that were there. And like we said previously, the first 15 minutes is free throughout the borough for the businesses. And then after that, it clicks up to $1 per hour. That's the printout that's in front of you. And then beside it, it's our, I guess, telltale what we're doing, how many signs are going to each location, where they're at. And the kiosks, the actual kiosks, as you know, are in the parking lots, 2 on Baltimore Pike and 1 down on Springfield Road. So if we approve this tonight, we'll be able to key it into them, and then it's active after that point. January 1 is this is our test time. January 1, with some good advertisement out there and everything, probably when we start, giving out some warnings at first and then starting the conditions of hitting it. So I guess I needed a motion to approve that, Madam Chair.
I'll entertain a
Which is
motion
on- Is that where the apartments are?
That's important.
regarding the Park Mobile
No.
pricing
On the
update.
streets a lot. Glenmore's.
No, that yet.
I'll entertain a motion regarding the Park Mobile parking price update.
So moved.
Right, Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Cannon seconded. Do we need to roll call for this?
No.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Um,
Aye. Any opposed? Right, motion carries.
Next up, we spoke at the caucus meeting, there's a need for 7 new computer replacements through GoTo. GoTo is our overall security and computer specialist. $13,653.12.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of 7 replacement PCs through GoTo. Estimate includes installation, hardware, materials, and professional services in the amount of $13,653.12.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Mr. Resnick made the motion. Mr. Fagioli
Second.
seconded. We'll do a roll call. Mr. Resnick?
Yes.
Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon?
Yes.
Mr. Swan?
Yes.
Mr. Fagioli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next up is our annual 4th of July contract I spoke about in the caucus. It seemed to be the consensus to have it on 4th of July, which is a Friday night, with fireworks incorporated at $20,000. I'm sorry, Celebration Fireworks is the company.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2025 fireworks for Friday, July 4th, 2025 in the amount of $20,000.
So moved.
Mr. Gorman made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Braun seconded. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Resnick?
Yes.
Mr. Braun?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Ms. Borelli?
Yes.
Mr. Gorman?
Yes.
Mr. Cannon? Mr. Swan?
Yes.
Mr. Fagioli?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And on the budget, Cindy, I should have something to council at the caucus in November for the preliminary, and I believe we'll be bringing it to council in December for final adoption. We're still waiting on the county for trash and sewer.
I have that now, and I just figured it, I talked to the solid waste authority the other day, and it's moving up to about $91 a ton. So what you and I had talked about was a pretty good estimate.
Very good, okay. So we'll keep our fingers crossed.
I haven't passed that yet, but it good to tell me.
The adoption, John, we would do, we would do, I'm looking for a December adoption.
Anyone?
Okay.
Changes tomorrow.
Any
That was all.
questions? questions for the manager? I'll entertain a motion to accept the manager's report.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ms. Borelli made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Gorman seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Now we have council reports. Mr. Swan?
I'm not gonna forget this time.
Mr. Resnick?
At the end of the ward, the food drive will be here November 16th in the parking lot. We'll be soon asking people to save cardboard boxes for us. And the more help we get November 16th, the better. We get a lot of canned goods, and the ideal cardboard box is a state liquor store box. Or as I've now realized, supermarkets sell a lot of wine. The wine boxes are fine too. I need about 200 of those cardboard boxes, so if people can start saving them, we could really use them. Anybody wants a flyer? I've got flyers to hand out. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Fagioli?
Nothing.
Mr. Cannon?
Yeah, I just want to comment, that I took the time to go over to the homecoming for the boys club, on Saturday. I was really impressed with the turnout, first of all, the kids had. And, it was nice to go over and support the boys club. So, thanks to Stevie Gates and the boys club for inviting us. So.
Anything else? You good, Mr. Cannon? Mr. Ron?
I have nothing.
Okay. Ms. Borelli?
I don't have anything.
Okay. I had a couple things. I agree with John. They did a very nice job at homecoming, trying to make it feel as much like home as possible, considering we're at a different location for right now. Fire prevention night also was very nice. On the 4th, this Friday, we have another movie night. So the parking lot opens at 5:30. We'll have some crafts for the kids, and then the movie starts at dark. Frost Fest is going to be on December the 8th, and we're going to have a planning meeting on Monday, the 21st at 6:30 for anyone who would like to be a part of the committee, help out. And also want to thank the chief. I heard from some residents on Oak thanking you for the traffic enforcement there. So, and that's all I have. Mr. Gorman?
Just that I was with Suzanne at the firehouse for the open house. Nick, your guys did a great job as always.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Just a couple of reminders. October the 26th, Saturday at Alden's parking lot, they're having an e-cycling and drug take back from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're all invited from Clifton to take our stuff over there. They'll take care of us just like we take care of them. October the 13th, I think it already passed. Yeah. So St. Charles, they turned 175-year anniversary. That church began in summer of 1849. They had a special mass at 10 o'clock. It was very nice. They had a nice turnout for that. Another reminder, the leaf pickup for the town starts November 4th and 5th. That's Monday and Tuesday. Just check the calendar. Almost every Monday and Tuesday, the borough will be around to pick up leaves. That is all I have for tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
All right. Any old business?
Yeah, I have something. I brought up about Skip Barnes for the, I'm looking for any suggestions about something a little bit bigger, like either naming a street or a park. I mean, 50 years of service to this community is pretty big. I mean, that's not gonna, I don't think that'll ever happen again. So I'm just looking for something big, like a park. I know I'm not sure all the parks are named or a street, but I think we should do something because that's pretty big. I mean, 50 years.
A lot of time.
Sorry, there's discussions, we have some, that's a great idea, well deserved. Ask the president to form a committee, because we're going to also, and he's way out, I mean, he's way above what I'm talking about, but we're looking at creating 3 walls at this park here.
Okay.
JP and I met last week, and the chief, we came up with the idea, we have to figure out how it fits in, and I think JP's going to help us with that. The bricklayers are going to help us. We're going to have 3 panels. One will be for community, one will be for fire, and one will be for police. But clearly, I know you're suggesting, I'm just saying, but I think that's the type of committee that needs to discuss it, because they'll come out with great ideas, or I may think a park, you may think a road, but I think if we could vet that through a good committee and come up with some criteria, I think it'd be well recognized. Clearly deserves it.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
We'll work on that.
All right.
Any other old business?
Now, just one thing to note is November 3rd is daylight saving, changing the time all back. Yeah. So remember, we're coming here in the dark now for the meetings.
Anything else? Any new business? All right. Next is public participation. Members of the community can come up and address at the podium. You have with 3 minutes.
You hear me big enough, I got it big enough now.
Name and address, please.
Yes. Tom answered a lot of questions.
Name and address, please.
Oh, Michael Humphreys, past president of the council, 35 Arch Street, Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania. First of all, Tom answered a lot of my questions. I thank him for it. But I do have an idea, if we get another giant windstorm and we're still working there, Tom, instead of having our street get, I mean, honest to God, it was like the Sahara Desert down there, or that valley with the dust was blowing down the street as high as the houses. We got a fire hydrant right across the street at Martino's. If they can hook up a hose and they can wet it down.
It's illegal to hook up a fire hose to a non-fire structure. That was the first thing we tried. Water company wouldn't give us even a metered hydrant to fill the truck.
All right, so maybe put a tank truck there. That was my other idea.
Still
And then
need
spray from a tank truck. The other thing is, you were just talking about Skippy Barnes. If I was you, instead of streets and all that, you got the fields being built up there, being a past president. Why don't you go and just do something with the fields? There's going to be football, maybe honorary stands, honorary locker room. There's plenty up there, and I think Skippy would like to have his name up at the new fields once they're constructed. Something for the council to think about. Okay? And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Fred Rich, 82 Chester Avenue. I just have one question. Has PennDOT approved the permit for the traffic around the school, Brooklyn, Sycamore Avenue? Have they updated a permit, traffic permit?
No.
No. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Ms. Burley made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Gorman, seconded.
On this time.